Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the DC Universe Young Justice Sportsmaster action figure set by Mattel. This figure set is part of Wave 3 of the Young Justice 6-inch line of action figures and was first released in early 2012. I found this set at a Target and it did not have a price. It was not in their computer system yet, so I ended up using an Aqualad UPC code to purchase this set at $20. Taking a look at the figure here in the package, you could see Sportsmaster there from the Young Justice television series, and he does come with a whole bunch of accessories. Here it says includes sculpted diorama and lots of weapons, that's for sure. And down below it says extremely posable figure instead of highly articulated figure, so that's kind of neat. On the back here we have a description of Sportsmaster with an artist's rendition of the character from the TV series. And down here we have the 6-inch line of action figures from Series 3, or Wave 3. We have Superboy and Sportsmaster, of course. And we have the 2-pack sets of Raj Al Ghul and Cheshire, and the Flash and Kid Flash. Now we'll be right back and have Sportsmaster here out of the package. Okay, we're back and we have Sportsmaster and all of his accessories out of the package. And I'm a big fan of the Young Justice 6-inch line of action figures because they include great diorama bases and neat accessories. And Sportsmaster here is one of the better sets accessory-wise, and it's just really cool. Now, I am very upset about one particular thing about this Sportsmaster set, and I'm hoping it's limited to my figure, but I kind of doubt it is. And we'll get into it as we get to it. But first I wanted to go over the diorama base and all of the neat accessories. And it's pretty cool. I think it's one of the better accessory sets, if not the best out of the Young Justice line so far, and it's just really cool. Now this particular diorama set is I guess to represent a training facility or a dojo or whatever you want to call it, and it's very neatly designed. It's semi-modular, it's not truly modular, but it's configurable in all sorts of ways, and it's pretty neat. And first off, I just want to go ahead and take a look at the base itself, and you have here a square gray base, and it's really cool. It's got one tab here and 3 slots on the other 3 sides, and with the tab and the slots you can actually configure and link the other bases together in different ways, which is really cool. It's not truly modular because you only have this one tab on one side. It would have been better if they had both a tab and a slot on the same side, maybe a tab right here and then the slot over here on all 4 sides, then it would have been truly modular. But it's still, you can get it in lots of different configurations. It's very cool. If you want to do a setup, a T type of setup here, you can if you wanted to, with a combination of fitting the slots and just lining them up because you don't have uniform slots and tabs there. But you can do a T configuration if you wanted to, or if you wanted to do just a straight line, or you could do some sort of L configuration, and it's just very cool. And I do have the Artemis set. Now, the base for Artemis is not truly compatible with the Sportsmaster. So you can see that I have 2 link bases here for the Artemis set, and it's not square when you take the 2 pieces apart. It's more rectangular, so it's not truly compatible. But you can line them up if you wanted to do different kinds of configurations, and it's just very neat. You can have a small dojo set up if you wanted to, combining the sets. It's just very cool on there. Taking a look at some more details on this diorama base we have here. We'll start with this one here. I don't know what you call this, but it's got those things where those martial artists always use with their hand-eye coordination in there, and it's one of those training things. I can't remember what they're called, but it's kind of cool on there. It does not rotate. It's actually pegged in, and you can actually remove it, and you got a hexagon shaped peg there, and you can either fit it on this one, on this particular base, which has a peg hole in the corner, or you can take the target off and plug it into this particular base where the peg hole is more towards the middle width-wise. So whichever one you want to do, it's up to you. You can put it right there if you wanted. Another part of the diorama base is the target for, I guess, ranged weapons. If you wanted, you can plug it in like that. And there are 3 slots in the target where you can place your weapons, like a throwing knife here, or the 2 throwing stars here. I haven't removed the elastic band yet, so but that's kind of cool. So you can have some ranged practice there. And the final accessory on this base is the weapons rack, which is kind of cool. Now this was already plugged into the base, and I'm sure you can remove it by, looks like some fitted tabs in there, but I'm not going to remove them now. But it's kind of a cool, neat thing. You can actually put the weapons on the rack there if you wanted to. Very cool. And easy access to all of the weapons if you needed to have the figure practicing. So very cool. I really like this weapon base. Or weapon stand, it's or rack. I guess it's really cool to have on there. So that's the base. Now going over some of the accessories, the weapon accessories, and Sportsmaster has quite a bit. We have here a boomerang. Now all of the weapon accessories are made of the same softer material, except for the javelin. But they're very pliable, almost gummy-like, and because of that, some of them were bent, like this throwing knife here. You can see the blade is bent. The boomerang here, which escaped curvature and warpage there, so which is this one may just go to my Captain Boomerang figure, but it's pretty neat. And then you have a pair of nunchucks, and this is one weapon accessory where it benefits to have that gummy-like material, because you can actually bend the nunchuck, so that's pretty cool. And another accessory here is the aluminum bat. Forgive my phone there, I just got a message, but aluminum bat that's very, like I said, pliable. So fortunately, mine was pretty much straight in the package, so it wasn't pre-warped. So that's kind of cool, but it's still quite bendable there. And Sportsmaster also comes with another throwing knife. This one's fared a little bit better than the other one I have. And then the final weapon accessory is the javelin. I don't call it a spear, I call it a javelin because it's Sportsmaster. He's into sports. So, but it's the javelin here is a little bit harder material, more rigid material. The tip is also, even though it's painted the same, but it's still pretty rigid. But mine is just a little bit bent on there, so but that's not too big a deal. So that's pretty cool. Now on to the Sportsmaster figure. and I gotta get this out of the way right now. And I'm not happy with with my particular figure, and it's not because of the figure itself. It's the one thing that has plagued Mattel for quite a long time, and I thought they were actually starting to fix this issue, but apparently they haven't fixed it, or they've gone back to this issue with the Young Justice, and that is dynamic posing in the packaging. It's one of my pet peeves about DC figures. They had the Sportsmaster figure here posed in a sidekick pose, and looking at the figure in the package, you could tell that there was some warpage in the legs, but it didn't look that bad. But once I got this figure out of the package, I was very upset to find out that this particular figure here is severely warped, and not in just one leg but both legs, and not in just one direction but in several directions. And it really has me upset because it's just something I thought that Mattel was actually fixing, especially with their DC Universe Classics, I believe Wave 19 and 20. If you look at the figures in Wave 20, all of the figures except for the Flashes are pretty much in a standard neutral position, and but this guy here was in a sidekick pose. And if you look at this figure here, if I straighten out the legs and line them all up, this guy's legs are bent, going out this way, coming back in, and on this leg it's going out further and coming back in. And you can just really tell, looking at the back of the knees there, you can see the lower leg slot here is just severely bent, and it just really pisses me off. And it's just because this is especially this figure, this is one I was looking forward to getting. I really like the Sportsmaster. I've been catching up on the Young Justice cartoon series, and I really do like the Sportsmaster, and and I was looking forward to this figure, and to get this figure in this condition just really has me upset. Now, I'm actually planning to buy another Sportsmaster set because I really like the semi-modular nature of these bases here, and I really want to get another set to expand my dojo or training facility. And but just to have, if anybody that's getting these figures, for just one of these figures, and to receive a figure like this, it would be, I think, similarly upset. But that's pretty much my rant on the warpage of figures. But taking a look at Sportsmaster here. Now, we have Sportsmaster, who I think is a poor man's Deathstroke in this series. He's so similar in this cartoon series to Deathstroke to me. I'm not sure why they did not use Deathstroke in the cartoon series, but they used Sportsmaster instead. Now, Sportsmaster is an existing character in the DC universe. It's not like they created the character for the TV series. Now, but in the TV series, he's very similar to Deathstroke. Masked head, a whole bunch of weapons, highly trained mercenary, and working for some baddies, and it just, the similarities are just uncanny. And I'm just wondering, maybe they had an issue with using Deathstroke in the cartoon series, and they went with Sportsmaster as an alternative. And but taking a look at Sportsmaster, you can see that he has a hockey mask on, very much like Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles. And a lot of videos that I've seen so far on the tube that go over the Sportsmaster have mentioned the smallish head on the figure, and it is a bit smaller, but I think it's also a bit accentuated because of the longer neck on the figure. If the neck was a little bit shorter and the head was a lot closer to the shoulders, I think it would have been a little bit better. but as it is, the head does look a little bit smaller. And but it's still pretty neat. On the sculpt, you can see the eyes in there, pretty cool. And you can see in the back here the cool straps that they sculpted and painted on there. It's very nice, and you can see the nice hair sculpt of the figure here. Pretty cool. Now you have here the body of Sportsmaster. You got some body armor here. It's pretty cool, and also some armor on the arms. And this particular upper piece here is actually pegged into the or glued into the shoulder joint, and you can see it's made of a soft material, so it does not impede the articulation of the arm, which is very, very nice. Very cool that they did that, instead of having a rigid piece of plastic, or it would impede the articulation. And it does not impede the articulation when you raise the arm as well, because the armor piece just goes over the shoulder here. So pretty cool. Nice soft material here. Now the lower armor here is made of a actually it is part of the forearm sculpt. So this particular forearm is unique. It's brand new. And that's pretty cool. He's got some fingerless gloves with some nice paint detail on the knuckles. Very nice. And then you have his utility belt with a whole bunch of pouches here, which is pretty cool. And it's kind of cool too that this belt is not part of the upper or lower torso. It's an actually independent piece, and you can actually rotate the upper torso and lower torso independently of the belt. So very, very cool on that. And continuing on to the legs here, you have I don't know if those are billy clubs or his nunchucks in a pouch there, which is glued to the leg on there. And then you have some sculpted straps on the leg there. And I got some knee covering here, and of course you got some new sculpt here for the lower leg. You got his leggings here going over his boot, which is kind of cool, and you got a nice boot design. So it's a pretty cool figure, despite the QC issues here. And it's also a tall figure, and I was kind of surprised at how tall this guy is. And for a size comparison, I'm going to go ahead and bring who I think they should have used in the Young Justice series instead, Deathstroke. And you can see both heavily armed mercenaries here. And you can see that not Deathstroke, but Sportsmaster is about half a head taller than Deathstroke himself. So this is a pretty tall figure, which is cool. I'm cool with it. I really like to have a variety of heights in the DC figures. Now, going over the articulation, the head does go all the way around, and it does go up and down, and the arms do go all the way around, and they do go out and in. The same with this arm here. No problems with the articulation there. The arms do go all the way around at the bicep, they bend at the elbow, and they rotate at the wrist. The torso does not really bend downwards, it's just very slightly, but it does bend back. And the upper torso can rotate all the way around, as well as the lower torso, so that's kind of cool. The legs do go up, down, and back, and out to the side. And the leg does go all the way around at the thigh, just above the knee. It's very low on the thigh. The knees do bend in and out, and the feet bend up and down, pretty good range at the ankle. Overall, a great figure, great set. Highly recommended if you're into the Young Justice line, or if you're into the accessories for dioramas and displays. And just be aware of the potential warpage because of these pre-posed figures and packages. Something I wish Mattel would actually fix. I thought they would fix it, but it looks like they haven't fixed that issue. but a great figure nonetheless. But this is my casual peek into the DC Universe Young Justice Sportsmaster action figure set. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.